Hello and welcome. My name is Whitney and I'm an anesthesia intern documenting my journey as I go through my first year of residency. I just finished up my second, which happens to be my final week of my ophthalmology elective, so I'll talk a little bit about that today. This week I was also on something called Jeopardy Call, which is not anything to do with the show Jeopardy, but something to do with just residency and whatnot, so I will go over that as well. So let's go ahead and get into it. To start off by talking about my ophthalmology clinic week, I'll say that it was pretty similar to last week's clinic schedule, so I won't go into all the details that's in my previous video talking about this, but I'll just say that it was a lot of clinic time, but also some time in the OR as well, doing surgery on the eye. And yeah, we saw pretty much the same problems with patients in terms of what we saw last week. So, like cataracts, glaucoma, we saw like diabetic changes of the eye as well. So, that wasn't too different in all honesty, but it was nice to see like different patients and like how they presented. So, that was cool. But I will say for the surgery component, I started off the day by working with the ophthalmologist that I've been paired with. And he was doing the cataract surgery. That's like what he specialized in. But in the same facility, there was also another ophthalmologist doing surgery on the back of the eye, like the retina. And I got to go into one of his cases, and that was actually like very different and very interesting just because I'd never seen anything like it before. I'll say that it was a little bit jarring, honestly, just because, like I had only seen cataract surgeries up to that point. So that's dealing with the front of the eye, which isn't quite as jarring to see someone work on. But when working on the back of the eye, you actually like go into the eye and like have like your tools in there and everything. So that was just a little bit more jarring, I would say, and maybe a little bit queasy. It took me a second to like actually get used to, but it was really interesting. I honestly never thought I would see a full physical exam of an eye just because it's a pretty specialized like training to be able to do that, right? Like you can look at the front of the eye pretty easily, but to look at the interior structures and the posterior part of the eye, that takes a lot of effort, honestly. You need like a special type of lens and even if you have the lens, you need to know how to work it and that's something I'm never going to just like pick up and figure out on my first try. So I didn't really do that at all during this rotation, and I didn't think I would like be able to do that. But in this surgery with the retina, the ophthalmologist he actually had to look into the eye to do the surgery. So kind of similar to the cataract surgery where there was a camera showing everything that was going on. With this retina case, there was also a camera going or camera like showing us what was happening, but we actually got to look through the lens to look at the back of the eye. So that was pretty cool. I feel like it's a medical training like bucket list item to like be able to say that I like saw a retina. So that was kind of like my fun nerdy thing of the week. Overall, I'll say that I'm really glad I did this elective. Even though it was only 2 weeks, I feel like I saw and learned a lot, which I wasn't sure if I would be able to do with only 2 weeks' time, but I don't know, I feel like I got a lot out of it, and I'm happy I did it. Now let's talk about Jeopardy, which is essentially just the backup call for the internal medicine residents at where I'm training. I'm not too sure where the word Jeopardy comes from. It has kind of an interesting connotation. But where I'm training at now, they call it Jeopardy in terms of like the backup system or like the call system. And where I did my medical school training, the IM residents also called it Jeopardy as well. So maybe that's just what it's called everywhere. I don't know. Maybe different in different spots too. But essentially, it is just a way of arranging for people to have backup in case the people who are, like on the floors in the hospitals, if they need to like take a day off because they're like sick or something came up, it's just a system in place to make sure that there's someone who could fill those spots. So the way that our Jeopardy is set up, which this could be different, wherever you go, but for each week throughout this entire year, that's like the entire intern year, there are four people who are on Jeopardy at all time. So starting Sunday evening, there are four interns who know that they're on Jeopardy and they know that they have to be available for that entire week that's about to come up to be available to come in if someone were to call off. So, like for me, starting last Sunday evening, I kept my phone on me on all times and I kept the ringer on, like I never put it on silent just because I knew that I had the possibility of being called in to cover for someone. As I was saying that there's 4 people on Jeopardy at all times, there is kind of like a list that we go through. So, like, there's someone in Jeopardy 1 position, someone in Jeopardy 2, Jeopardy 3, Jeopardy 4, and that's the order that people would get called in case somebody did call off. So, for example, like, I was Jeopardy 2 this week, meaning I wouldn't get called in if one person called off, but if 2 people called off, then I would have had to go in, and it's different every week. So I was on Jeopardy this week, but I won't be on Jeopardy again for several months. So I don't have to worry about doing this again for I think actually like 3 months, which is kind of nice. But even though I'm not doing it, that just means that there's other interns who are on Jeopardy this upcoming week, and it just rotates as we go throughout the year. I think I have 6 weeks total, and it seems like it's really concentrated in the winter for me. So I will get to a period of time where I think I'm on it like 4 times in 2 months. So that's quite a bit. But for right now, I don't have to worry about that. We are only on Jeopardy when we're on our electives. So that's why I was on it this week. And it just meant that, like I would still go to the ophthalmology clinic, but I had the potential to not go in and instead have to go into the hospital. It really just depended on what the day brought. I'll say that I honestly was a little bit more stressed out this week just because of Jeopardy. First of all, just because I really liked my ophthalmology clinic, and it only being 2 weeks long, I really wanted to take advantage of that as I could. And just kind of always wondering if you're going to be called in is just like a little bit more stressful. Like when you know you have to do something, I feel like it can be kind of stressful, but like you expect it to be. But on this one, you're just like always waiting to see if you're going to get called in. So for me, I just between the hours of like, I don't know, maybe like 10 a.m. and 4 p.m., I kind of like felt relaxed. But outside of that, I felt a little bit more on edge just because I didn't know if I was going to be getting a call. Like I was expecting it just in case, but I didn't want to like, I don't know. It's hard to explain, but I tried like not to think about it, but it's hard not to think about it when you know that like any time you could be called in. So yeah, it was just a little bit more stressful. I thankfully was not called in any day this week, so I did get to enjoy my kind of like relaxed ophthalmology week. And I don't know, it's now Sunday afternoon when I'm filming this, and I think I'm officially in the clear, so I will take it. All right, well, that is all that I have for you all this week. It's really not too much different than last week. Yeah, just ophthalmology clinic. I did not get called into Jeopardy, and I've explained what that is. Um, and I won't have to talk about it again for several months, which makes me pretty happy. I'll go ahead and pull up how many hours I worked this week just so we can take a look at that to wrap up this video. All right, so just pulling them up here, you'll see that it was a 4-day week again, and the days that I did worked were like kind of half days. I don't know. It was like less than 4 hours each time, which doesn't even feel like a half day, which is nice. It is appreciated. So I worked a total of 15 hours this week. I know that's not a lot of hours working, but I am definitely keeping busy outside of that. I take step 3 in a little bit over a month, so I've been really working on studying for that, and then just trying to, like live life, cook, eat, clean, work out, all the things that I feel like aren't quite as readily available when I'm on those like tougher rotations. So I was very happy with how this week worked out, and yeah, it was really nice. Next week, I start another more difficult rotation. I'm starting my general surgery block. So, just as a reminder, as a transitional year intern, we kind of go through a whole bunch of different specialties. So, I just finished up my emergency medicine and my ophthalmology elective, and now I am starting surgery. So, we'll see how that goes. I start tomorrow. I will be in touch again later and to fill you in on how it goes. All right, take care, everyone.